So guys, welcome back to another video. Sorry about my voice here, guys. I've been a bit sick these last couple of days here. Something going around, I don't know. I was hoping to do like a 3-in-1 type of video today to test out 3 things I bought from the internet. You know, I'm always on the hunt for some good cheap tech, and one of them was this microphone here. But it turns out, since this has a 4-prong for some reason connector, you cannot use it on my Canon R8 camera because it requires a 3-prong connector, and when you plug in this, well, everything goes silent. I do suspect this is more or less meant for if you're using it for your phone and logging your phone, because phones are 4-prong because they use left, right, ground, and microphone, and that's why you have 4 of them. And I do suspect it only uses the ground and the microphone part of this connector and not the other, and that's why it won't register on my camera. So that was a kind of a fail, but the internal microphones should do the job. And the other thing I'm testing out here is these K&F concept batteries for the Canon R8, and these actually bought from AliExpress. And well, they work, I think, because it's running on one of these batteries right now, and this seems to work fine. It shows full charge and everything like that, and haven't dropped since I started recording this video, so that's good. So what am I going to look at today? Well, I don't know if you probably heard of this store before or the brand before, but Vevor, here you go. They make a bunch of stuff, from what I've seen. Look at that, cat fur, you know, that's how life of a cat owner. They make a bunch of stuff. In today's video, I'm going to unbox something I didn't know they had, but they have pretty much anything. So let's take a look at this. And before actually getting it open, you've probably seen the title. And yes, this is a all-in-one liquid cooler for a computer that I paid $30 for. That's why I was like, how bad can it be, you know? So, well, it says right on it, Vevor CPU cooler. So, let's get this thing out of the box. It fits snugly in this box here, so that's nice. Kind of a good protection there, because usually the packaging coming with these kind of products is decent enough for shipping. So yeah, I'm gonna raise you up a bit here, get you a little bit taller here. There we go. Aha. See a bit more. Not much information. It says liquid CPU cooling optimized for low noise and high performance. Well, don't they all, you know? Custom designed low resistance radiator allows higher flow rate, heat exchange efficiency, and provides unmatched cooling performance. Big claims here. PWM fan synchronizes with the motherboard to deliver optimal cooling. 9 blades designed to provide massive airflow. Man, nice. IRR plus EPDM tubing. Not really sure what that means. Something important, I don't know. Makes it durable yet flexible. Sleeve tubing on the exterior to give it a premium look. So let's see. We're gonna look at that. Installation is quick and easy for both Intel and AMD platforms, with everything you need straight out of the box. I do know that this will not work on all current motherboards. For example, it will not work on the TR4 socket, which is kind of current because, you know, Threadrippers, they still make them, and they still, for some reason, use the exact same cooler design or cooler mounting. Well, for some reason, actually, it's kind of good that they actually do that. And here is some more specifications here. It says something about the aluminum radiator. It says that the fan, the pump runs at 4850 RPM. That's actually quite a lot faster than my Corsair in my main computer here. And the fans, they max out at 2200 RPM, which is a decent speed, and also low at 800. So it should be reasonably quiet. Hopefully there is no PWM bearing or PWM humming from these fans, because that's a kind of thing with cheap fans, and well, not exactly cheap fans, but fans not optimized for the lowest possible fan noise. For example, in Dell computers, we use the 120mm thick 120 fan. That's a very strong fan, high wattage, high amperage fan that can make a lot of noise if you put it up to high speed. And but not only that, it also has a hum from it. That's why they rubber mounted in Dell systems. And but if you hard mount it in your normal computer case, you will get a PWM hum through the case, which is kind of annoying to listen to. So there's the box itself. Let's see, how do you open this? Is this it's not shoebox style like any other. Oh, looks like we are upside down here. Well, first impression here, decent packaging. A lot of cardboard, which is nice. You know, that's eco-friendly, whatever. But this is not cardboard, but you know, a little protection is good, you know. A little user's guide. Probably something in here. Yeah, it says something about cooling installation here. It wants you to remove the AMD retention bracket to install it, which is fine. It does include CPU cooler, of course, Intel backplates, Intel bracket, AMD bracket, and thermal paste. Wow, okay. Some screws and whatever to install it. Here's actually socket 2011 installation material. That's kind of why I bought this thing, because I have a socket 2011 motherboard I want to put this on, to test it out on. And that will be a separate video, guys. So this will just be an unboxing. So just to see what's included, here we got, well, all the mounting materials. Actually, let's see, are they labeled? Yep, they are. Say Intel 2011, let's see here, fan and case screws, grease. Here's some AMD stuff. It's a reasonably good labeled stuff up in here. Take it out just to show you a bit better here. For example, grease, thermal grease like they call it. Here's the AMD installation brackets with the included screws. So, and they are also marked AMD. I don't know how well I can see that. And of course the Intel whatever up in here with the back plates. So you know, like first impression, that's really nice. And as I said, for the price, man, it was also free shipping. But there was something I did not like. This thing, in Norway we have this, you have to pay, you know, import fees and all, you know, that stuff, you know, VAT or VAT or whatever they call them. And usually, and this was pre-paid when I bought it. But since this was shipped through from the Vevor or whatever, the seller, to a third-party sender, they didn't include that the VAT was already prepaid. So, and I have seen it before, not to shame anyone, but lttstore.com does this exact same thing. It transfers in Europe when it comes here to a different shipping facility, and then it ships to Norway. And that's kind of what's breaking that whole system. So you have to make a claim with the store that you have to get the VAT back, and I do not believe you get the whole sum or the whole amount, because you get of course you have to pay the VAT when it comes to Norway, but you also have to pay a VAT fee for you know, the Norwegian postal office. They use you know, 19 seconds of the computer hardware to determine how much you're gonna pay, and you're gonna pay another $15 on top of that to get that, you know, for that administration thing, you know, even though it's done all automatically. It's a stupid design, but that's how it is. You know, money everywhere. Everyone wants money. So, anyways, I'm gonna remove this cooler here. That's packed in plastic, and more cardboard here. Very nice, sturdy cardboard. And let's see here. Nice, actually, nice plastic bag here. Actually, not bad at all. And yeah, you know what? The fans have a 3D printed vibe to them, if that makes sense. You can see that, all these lines here. So probably not the highest quality fans out there, but they are 4-pin. Not the longest cables in the world, but you know, that's fine, you know, because most motherboards, they have headers along the top. Both fans seems to be actually very nicely stabilized and very nicely balanced because they have no wobble to them when they spin. So that's nice. This water block has a very nice big copper plate on it, so that will help it see to even the biggest processor out there. Unfortunately, there's no TR4 mounting hardware for this thing, and that's kind of a bummer because I do have a Threadripper, my old Threadripper motherboard with the Threadripper on it, and I do struggle a lot to find a decent cooler for that thing. Because if you're gonna buy a cooler for that, you have to buy some special thing because it has a bigger plate. But if you actually look at how the Threadripper CPU is set up, the chiplets are actually in the middle. They don't cover the whole big chip. You don't need this big of a plate to actually cool down that chip. So I bought something else on eBay, so that's gonna solve that issue, because then it allows me to install normal AM4 coolers onto that socket. I believe you can, with some you know, majiggeries and probably a drill and something, you can probably use the AM4 mounting hardware to kind of get it installed on a TR4 socket without even having tried it. So I can't really tell if that's true or not, but you know, it's a thing. Maybe I'll try that. This thing also has actually a USB connector, and I do not believe that this carries. Actually, there is signal. There's power and signal here. I don't know if it's gonna be a software gonna run this or something. I guess I'll get to that on the full review. But it has a display on it, and as I said, for the price you get a display, which is actually mind-blowing, because I paid $200 plus for my Corsair cooler, which I really regret, because Corsair kind of forces you to use their software and their ecosystem and their fan connectors and their yada yada. It's very, very annoying. So that's probably the last time I'm ever going to buy a DIY or a AIO from Corsair, just due to the complexity of installation. It makes it so much more complicated. You need to install that stupid hub to get everything working. I mean, it's stupid. Also, since the fans are proprietary, you cannot sync them to the rest of the fans in your computer. You have to replace all your fans with Corsair fans, and I'm not going to do that. So what I did was kind of, I went behind their back kind of, and I bought Fantex fans, because they are normal PW or normal LED addressable RGB fans with a normal addressable 3-pin connector. And I just replaced the Corsair fans, but I still need to use that stupid hub in the rear to make everything work. So yeah, Corsair, your product is probably good enough, but man, for the price and to pay to get into that ecosystem, I'm not really agreeing on that. But back to this, the tubes are decent size. They are decently long. It looks like you can mount this easily in the front of your case, kind of like something like, oh, I thought it wasn't work, something like that. So you can install it in your front of your case. You can install it in the top. That's no issues at all, because these tubings are, well, they are long enough, that's for sure. You can install it that way. You can install it this way, and kind of do like something like this. The tubes are stiff, and they do not kink. Not really that stiff, but they do not kink, which is nice. And they are soft enough to that point you can actually install this wherever you want to put it. But see, if I move this and just leave this on the table, it will move it about. So there is some resistance in the tubing. But if I just hold it lightly to the table, yeah, no problems at all installing this on a motherboard. This is imaginary from the top of the case, and if this was in the front, it will be something like that, for example. Or it could probably do something like that as well, but the tubing kind of look weird at that point. So, you know, the design of tubing, the sleeving, it's actually, as I said, for the price, this is completely fine. This is actually not bad at all. Very nice sleeving. It looks like decent quality. It does shred a bit. I don't know if you can see that on the video, but it does start to get some strands here. But you know, you're not going to see that in the system. It is marked with CPU cooler model YC-01-SS-002, and it says some stuff on it. It has actually a serial number on it for some reason, or probably there is some warranty claims on this. I don't know, but overall, I mean, it has a little cap here, end tank, whatever, to kind of dress it up a bit, and kind of probably to hide the barb connectors here, and it makes actually looks very nice with the fans installed right up to it like that. And the fans do actually have rubber on them to insulate them from transferring in noise. As I said, or from the fans, how they look, these are decent fans with plenty of blades, and if these spins at 2200 RPM, they should probably do pretty fine. But you know what? That's pretty much the unboxing video for this thing. Stay tuned for the review on this thing, because I am actually quite excited to test this out. I'm going to test it out on a kind of middle of the road heat output system. I'm going to install it in a Xeon 8-core system, which I believe is 130 or 140 watt TDP. So that's going to be interesting to check out. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for that review. And of course, other unboxings, you know, tech stuff. Cool. And the battery is holding up. Nice.